2020. But before we do that, let's have the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. At our last public meeting, the board reviewed the 2020 preliminary budget. Actually, could you turn those lights, the second row lights up? It's unblinded. The small switches do it actually. Perfect, thank you. Okay. Again, at the November meeting, the board reviewed the 2020 preliminary budget. And there was some discussion. Mr. Walsh made some transfer suggestions, which were then incorporated by vote into the now final budget for 2020. I'm going to go over those numbers. Also, working with the two members of the ad hoc budget group and in individual consultation with the other board members, there have been some very incremental changes in the overall budget, mostly general fund, and I'm going to go through those. Otherwise, there are no other changes from the preliminary budget adoption for any capital reserve items or any other expenses or revenues for 2020. So what I'm going to do is go through, I'll project those minor changes here, and then we can obviously open it up for discussion. And then if there are any other issues within the budget, if you want to go line by line, we'll do whatever the board sees fit tonight. Okay, so following last month's budget discussion and adoption of the preliminary, again, there was discussion with the two budget members from the Board of Supervisors, and then individual consultation with each board member to gauge the intent to make these changes. And I'll go through these one by one, and then we can either do it as a overall consensus of the board or individually, whichever the board prefers. Okay. The first item is a personnel issue. It's we currently have a clerical dispatch hybrid position in the police department. That person is leaving for the State Police Academy, I believe early January. It's been recommended from the board to eliminate that position after that person leaves, with an overall savings to the general fund of $48,363. Some of those savings were used for item number 3 to increase the salaries for next year. Let me go through them one by one, and then we can go back to each as you see fit. There was a request to modify the tuition reimbursement program for the township. It was taken out of the budget, and then for preliminary, and then reinstated over the last few weeks for the final budget for non-uniform employees. It's a 100% reimbursement program up to a maximum of $5,250 per requester annually. That is the IRS maximum before those additional benefits on top of that get taxed. That is a negative impact to the general fund of $22,350. Getting to that salary question, slightly higher 2020 salary increases for non-uniform employees, 3.8% for outstanding performers, 3 to 3.5% for satisfactory performers, 1.8% for transitional marginal performers. The overall impact of the general fund is $24,397. $11,991 to the sewer fund and $732 to the waste recycling fund. Along with the payroll changes, there are associated taxes. There will be a higher payroll tax that the township will be responsible for, with the impact of $1,871 to general fund, $920 to sewer fund, and a $56 impact to the waste recycling fund. We've been able to very carefully fine-tune our insurance renewals for this final budget. The medical insurance renewal has not changed, it's still 0.0%. Prescription coverage is up 1.4%. Dental has actually decreased 13.1%. Vision is up 12.9%. Our term life policies for our employees are at 0%. And the board previously agreed to eliminate the long-term disability insurance program for our non-uniform employees at a savings of 0.214%. We will now have a program for uniform employees effective 1/1/20. And then the fund transfers, and again, correct me if I'm wrong, from line item, we have several transfers that were discussed and approved by the board at the last meeting. Line item 1492.9730 is a transfer of $1.7 million from general fund to capital reserve. And on the receiving side, 30392.03901 transfer of that same $1.7 million, again, from the general fund for future capital improvements. And then we have the sewer revenue fund transfer of $1.5 million. And I know, Sean, you had 1.48, it was a more detailed number. We just kept it 1.5 million just for essentially simple sake. That's all. And those are the changes since the preliminary budget adoption in November. We can go through them individually if anybody has any questions.
Mr. White, Dr. White, come on up.
You see the 1.7 million
Yes.
to be transferred, is that, the two lines, is that the same money?
Yeah, yes, it's the out from general and the in from capital reserve. It's not $3.4 million. Yeah, for sure.
Well, we only have 2 residents
Right.
in our attendance this evening. Anyone from the staff have any questions or comments? Really? It's 10 after 6, what now can we talk about?
I have one, and we're on the salary for
Yes.
the non-uniform.
Yes.
How close are we to the uniform of 3%?
Overall, across the, we're pretty darn close. Ms. Latzer, any average across the board, would you say?
Well, we did not, we're at 1.2% across the non-uniforms, but that was across all of the non-uniform categories. But yeah, I'd say we're pretty close to.
Okay. So per gen, that's
3%.
We're pretty close to 3%.
Okay, because we were so low to start.
Correct.
That was not good. These can be. So they can be as high as 3.8.
Correct. Correct.
Thank you.
Okay, so it's not listed here, but we did approve the commensurate movement on the sewer revenue
Yes.
reserve account to the sewer authority.
That is in the budget. I do apologize. That is in the budget. Yes. Everything that you have requested and approved. That's
And on the long-term disability, that's out, but we talked about maybe having an addendum where we could self-insure it.
If the board so sees fit, staff can investigate some type of self-insured program or something like that. As the board knows, over the years we paid the premiums. We paid $900,000 in premiums, and we received $23,000 in benefits. So it would be much more cost effective to do something else than pay premiums we're never going to receive any benefits from.
I know, speaking for Public Works, that's a huge benefit to our people, and I'd really like to see something, not just taking away.
Sports priority.
Yeah, they say like we do on some of the other insurances where we self-insure. Because somebody in the non-union, for me, it hurt on one of those holes or somebody backs into them or the hole in the street something. It can be pretty expensive. And it's cost very little to the township for the insurance over the years. We only had, I believe, 2 big insurance claims.
We have 2 conversations going on here. Can you just finish those ones? That's okay. Casey, can you respond in terms of, you just talked about the amount of premium
Yeah,
over a
we
period
paid,
of time.
yeah, Jen, I don't know how many years we paid those premiums, but it's almost $1 million in premiums. And those 2 individuals received about $23,000 in benefits. So we need to look at something else. It's, you know, if that were a personal decision in my house, I wouldn't pay the premium. I'd find something else to do because the benefits just not there. So,
So we'll take a look at it.
yeah, that's,
Yeah.
I mean, there's nothing to put in the budget per se right now. So.
The township can take a look and we self-insure on that.
Yeah, we can
We've
look
got
at
to do something with it.
we can look at some other options.
Yes.
Since you asked, I wasn't going to comment, but first I heard about the clerical dispatch position being eliminated was today. That has an adverse effect on our dispatch services because obviously our 2 full-time people, the hybrid position overlaps their schedules, fills in for their breaks, etc., and assists Cindy and Jess with our clerical issues because obviously the department's not getting smaller, we're getting bigger, we're getting busier. So, switching over to county is one thing, but we have a lot of walking traffic. So I would have to man that desk during the course of the absences of Jackie as she has to go to the restroom or takes her lunch or whatever. So I know it seems to be a big chunk of change up there, but I would respectfully request that position be reconsidered because we have had 3 clerks for many, many years and we keep them very busy. And last year we came with an idea of a hybrid position so that clerk could be cross-trained with dispatching and help those positions when we fall short, when somebody calls in sick, if there's an overlap, it helps fill the gap and it takes a lot of pressure off the guys on the street because if I don't have a dispatch working, county doesn't take phone calls. So an officer has to come into the station every time there's a phone call complaint. And that position actually helps to keep the guys on the street and control cars. So I would respectfully request that be reconsidered. Thank you.
You just made so that they don't take the phone calls?
County dispatch will not take a phone call for an officer. They'll make a complaint and they will dispatch that phone call. Like if somebody calls in and asks for officer, I'll just say Officer Boyle. The county dispatch will take name, phone number, and dispatch that to an officer, no matter whether Officer Boyle is working or not, that there's a phone call complaint. The officer has to come in off the street, make the phone call, realize that it is a message for an officer, and then proceed to leave a message for the officer. It generates a complaint, it generates time off the street. Jackie can, and Ethan field those calls and direct them accordingly to voicemails, whatever the case may be. So it has multi-purposes with regard to services that we provide. So,
Chief, some of the police departments I've called actually have a system where you can actually get to the officer by just punching in their last name. If you're calling for Officer so-and-so would like to leave a message here, do that. If you're calling for Officer Jones, you could do that. Have you guys looked into that option at all?
we have not. But I have not. Right now, we're working off of the system, the phone system that the township is, placed upon us, and that's been what 10 years plus every bit of it. It's about working. Yeah. So we have not. I don't know what the cost of that would be, but we operate off of the township system. So, thank you.
Along the same lines, the Parks Department had an employee cut, one left and we can't replace. That's a man off the street with a snowplow. Parks Department has taken over all the sewer work with maintaining their grounds. We didn't increase any bodies. We need that person, and they're not sitting around. That's also one person off the street, because I have to pull one person back each year to keep the police station open, to keep this place open. So there's always one body at the complex. So now I'm taking one guy out of a plow truck, and he's back here.
So, Chief Policeman, I have a question about utilization of the county dispatch. Do you typically have someone available 24/7, or is it, there are times during the workday that you're going to have to leave it to the county?
We switch over to the county operations, the 911 center at 11 o'clock at night, and we work till 7 in the morning off the county dispatch. Over the past 2 years, we've utilized part-time positions as well to fill in on the weekends. And I'll give you an example, and it doesn't happen quite often, probably twice a year, but we run sobriety checkpoints in the township. And during the course of those sobriety checkpoints, usually on a Friday night, based on statistics and need, we may tow 10 or 12 cars. Well, those people come to the police station on Saturday morning to get their cars returned, and there's a process we have to go through for that. So sometimes the dispatcher is there that can service that. If not, we call, the officer comes in off the street and deals with that. So we do utilize the 911 center on the midnight shifts, but we've been trying to make it more beneficial to the residents that the officers are on the street by utilizing a part-time dispatch service. You have a person, and I think they're paying $17 an hour for our part-time people to fill in on weekends and that kind of thing. Now, the hybrid position is a full-time position here that we utilize to assist Cindy and Jess with the clerical and the reports that are needed for the board, et cetera, over the course of the month. And then she fills in when Jackie and Ethan are either on break, call out sick, on a training, whatever the case may be. So that's
So
what
I think one of the things that I was concerned about was the fact that we had another service that could cover some of these calls, but also because I was concerned that there was, what I would see is a fair amount of that overtime, that while the township has budgeted it, there have been years when you have exceeded it, and I'm concerned about that trend.
clerical overtime or officer overtime? Because there's two
No,
different.
we're talking about not the clerical, but the dispatcher going on overtime as well.
Yeah, that will be the
And we
clerical.
can't have a situation where we set a budget and then it gets exceeded by several $1,000s after the fact. So,
I agree, we try and do that, but sometimes emergency situations call upon us to do what we need to do, and that doesn't happen that often. But I
as a
do.
budget,
I-
we have
I-
to basically, that's the limit. The point of being that it's hard for us to project future if each time there's a budget, it gets changed to add more. And I think probably what would be helpful is for us to sit down and talk about how to work together on this, because I am concerned about lack of conversation about this situation. I didn't know about the extra overtime until we ended up going into the details of each of the line items. We haven't talked about that in the last 2 years and talking about the budget. So I think it would be valuable for you and I to come back and talk with you about this to see what are some options. I don't necessarily believe that we should go back to 3 dispatchers. I think we need to talk about how we do that in a cost-effective way. I'm sure you've got great ideas on it, so
Well,
we can talk.
we asked for questions, that was my.
Yeah, no, I understand. That's what I think we need to do.
Okay.
Okay.
Chief, what's the, what are our neighboring municipalities do in terms of dispatch coverage?
Well, West Town East Goshen works off of the county radio. Westchester Borough is self-dispatched 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. So, and West Whiteland is self-dispatched, or I'm sorry, they work on the county as well.
So they don't have any dispatchers there?
They have receptionists that deals with the walk-ins that I explained, but they don't dispatch.
The receptionist is 9 to 5 kind of role?
I believe so.
Thank you.
But then there's one that comes on overnight for the evening.
Not for them, not for West
Oh,
Whiteland,
okay,
for us,
okay,
yeah.
Westchester, sorry.
We dispatched 16 hours a day for as long as I've been here. We did go to full-time about probably 10 plus years ago, if not longer, about 15 years ago. That lasted a few years, and then we went back to the 16 hours.
Any other, Doug, why come on up?
Chief Gleason, so how long have we had the 3 dispatchers?
I guess this is probably 2 years, I believe.
Okay,
And it was a hybrid position, a clerk. Many years ago, we had three clerical staff.
so this extra, the 3rd position you find would be very helpful.
It's a split position. We don't use the clerical full-time. We split it between dispatch and clerk.
Okay, well, maybe the board can consider, just a suggestion, to look at the contribution to the libraries and to what we give to Good Fellowship. What we're giving to Good Fellowship is going from 25,000 to 50,000 around, roughly. Is that true, Casey?
That's true, and they
Okay, so-
provide ambulance service to the entire
Right, so-
township, so might want to be careful where you cut.
Okay, just maybe to look at those expenditures to help cover the cost of the 3rd dispatcher and the extra parts person. Just an idea. Thanks.
Thank you. Any other comments? Discussion? Anyone have any comments or questions? No? George, oh, I'm sorry, yes, did you say something? Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, if there aren't any other questions or comments, we can move on to another item. Mr. Palin.
Thank you,
Oh,
Madam Chair.
excuse me, sorry, Dr. White.
What I meant to say was with Good Fellowship, they should still have an increase, but maybe a little bit less of an increase. That's one thing. But still commensurate with their services that they give to the town.
Thank you.
Were there going to be any more budget discussions, or?
That's what I'm wondering, does anyone have any questions, comments, to continue the conversation about the budget?
If you wanted to close the budget, I mean, you can approve the budget now, you can approve the 2 resolutions to approve the budget, approve the millage, but that's strictly your prerogative.
As opposed to during the next meeting? I think we should make the decision now.
Yes, I would recommend that.
Okay. So I have a motion to close the budget.
I'll make that
session.
motion.
Okay.
I'll second it.
Okay. Any public comment? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, if the board would like to approve or consider approving Resolution 20 of 2019, I traditionally read the resolution out loud. And this is Resolution 20 of 2019. It's a resolution of West Goshen Township essentially to approve the 2020 budget as presented. Section 1, that for the expenditures and expenses for the fiscal year 2020, the following amounts are hereby appropriated from the fund equities, revenues, and other financing sources, available for the year 2020 for the specific purposes set forth below, as well as adopts the West Goshen Township 5-year capital improvement plan and financial projections by reference. General fund in the amount of $17,507,571. Sewer fund in the amount of $7,439,887. Waste Recycling Fund in the amount of $2,600,504. State Highway Fund in the amount of $750,000. And the Capital Reserve Fund in the amount of $2,613,729.
Madam Chairman, I'll make the motion to accept Resolution 20-2019.
I'll second the motion.
Any public comment? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And then Resolution 21 of 2019 is setting the millage rate at 2 mills. There is no change in the tax rate for 2020. If I can have a motion to approve that.
I'll make the motion to approve the resolution. I'll second.
Any public comment? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Mr. Bailey?
You can. I'd like him before, well, not before. I have the 2 resolutions I'd like them to be signed.
Okay.
Just. Thank you.
Madam Chairwoman, if I may.
Yes, Mr. Bailey.
Thank you, Madam Chairwoman. Folks, I want to take this opportunity to thank everyone for attending and inform you that today's budget meeting was actually my last function as a township supervisor. As many of you know, I have been recently elected to the Chester County Recorder of Deeds position. As such, and in accordance with the second-class township code, I am unable to hold both offices contemporaneously. And so I'm tendering my resignation effective tonight. I wanted to come and cast my final vote for the budget. There's been a lot of hard work done on this. This has been a tough year. As you see, we haven't been getting the revenues. We had to make some hard choices. But I know in the future that everyone's going to work together to find good resolutions for this township, as we always have. I'm resigning today and doing this to enable the township enough time to identify and choose my successor and to ensure as smooth a transition as possible. I want to thank my colleagues for all of their help and their work over these past several years. We faced many challenges together, and although we may not have always agreed on issues, I've never once, ever doubted that they've always had the township's best interest in their hearts and minds. It's been an honor and it's been a privilege to serve with all of you. I want to thank the entire staff, volunteers, and all the employees of West Goshen Township for their dedication, their hard work, and their efforts they have made on behalf of our residents. You've taught me so much, and I'm proud to have worked with you. From our police force to our streets department of public works to our sewer and our finance, I am convinced that you are the best township employees in all of Chester County. To all of our commission and board members, thank you from the bottom of my heart for your years of volunteer service and dedication to the township, some of whom have served for almost 5 decades. To Casey and Derek, thank you for all of your support and hard work and your patience. You have forgotten more than I will ever know about township management. You're always there to help and to make me a better supervisor. And we're truly lucky to have you both. Thank you. And to our residents, I cannot relate properly and adequately my appreciation. It's been my greatest professional honor to have served you over these past 4 years. I've tried my best, and I hope that your trust in me met with your satisfaction. And for those of you who are unsatisfied, I thank you just as much because you've reinforced my strong belief in our democratic form of government and the freedoms that we all hold dear. It's a great and awesome thing to have the right to stand up and question your elected officials, not as a disadvantage, but as an American citizen, calling their public servant onto the carpet. And as many of you have seen, that happens quite often here. So during these troubling times, actually, it's comforting to know that in our little piece of this great land, the Republic, and for which it stands, is still alive and well here in West Goshen. And I pray to God that each of us works hard to ensure that it remains that way. I'll miss you all. I will always be proud to have worked with such great folks who have made West Goshen the wonderful place that it is. And so I pass the torch, saying a heartfelt goodbye. Good luck, and God bless you all. Thank you. Thank you, Madam Chairwoman.
Is this when you ride off into the sunset?
I think so. My horse is out there.
Oh, okay. There's 2 of them here, so. Oh, of course.
Oh, I'm not sure which one's which.
Oh, okay, well, hold on, let me do this properly, hold on. Congratulations, and thank you for all your service the last 4 years and before even then.
Thank you, folks. Thank you very much.
So do you have a good spot, goodbyes, Alicia?
No.
You want to warm up? You're among friends right here.
I know.
This is a lot easier than having the whole audience filled in. Tell us what you're going to miss.
Alexa.
Oh,
But that's,
okay.
now I get too emotional.
All right, well then, I'm at least going to bestow upon you this wonderful plaque to recognize your service for many, many years.
It's been fun. I like to say, as great Bob Hope would say, thanks for the memories.
All right, so we're going to close our budget. And we can have a break for the next 20 minutes.
So make a motion to close the meeting.
Close the meeting. Okay. Anyone in the audience have any questions? Okay. We're going to adjourn the meeting for now until 7 p.m. and we'll start the normal Board of Supervisor meeting.